Are there any witnesses in court, or there are people in court?
None that are the people witnesses, Your Honor.
Ms. Stevenson?
Your Honor, I am requesting that the individuals who have accompanied Ms. Harrison to the courtroom this morning be delivered.
I didn't hear you.
So
You're requesting people.
I'm requesting that the people who did accompany Ms. Harrison to the courtroom wait in the hallway, but, well, yes, that's my request at this time.
Okay, so the two individuals that accompany Ms. Harris, please wait in the hall. And these people that are, these individuals that the people are aware of, or
There is, well, I'll, as the chief said, for it's okay with her just putting a name on the record, if I see a name in there, that may possibly be one of them.
these who are the witnesses. Potential witnesses.
So Ms. Sabrina Harris,
Ms. Stevenson, you know you did not talk.
apologize for that, Your Honor, Ms. Sabrina Harris. And so the other individual, Your Honor, I don't know is referenced by name in the investigator's report, Your Honor, but I am gonna ask her to wait in the hallway and then just, gonna offer her, and I'll make an argument at that time, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Your Honor, the other matter is that there are two body worn camera videos that were produced during discovery to the defense counsel. People are asking if the defense counsel will stipulate to those two body worn cameras being videos.
Ms. Stevenson.
I would just ask for which officers,
Officer Romano, Officer Lavarte.
and are those officers both present today?
Yes, Your Honor, they are.
If they're in court today, then I have no objection, then I'll stipulate to the commission of their body.
Okay.
Your Honor, at this time, people move to admit People's Exhibit 1, Officer the violent body worn camera as evidence. And then People's Exhibit 2, Officer Romano's body worn camera as evidence.
People's, exhibits 1 and 2 are.
Thank you, Your Honor. No problem.
All right. Ma'am, you need to see it, I think, will there be an opening statement on behalf of the people?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, the facts of this case are interesting on people's theory of what happened on June 18th of 2023. Your Honor, there was an incident that started out with Miss Sierra Rochelle. That is a family member to complaining witness number 1, Amber Coney. Sierra Rochelle witnessed an altercation between the defendant, Ms. Ariana Harris, and an unknown male that was occurring across the street from her. Ms. Rochelle, I guess trying to be a good Samaritan, tried to intervene and stop this physical altercation from happening between Ms. Ariana Harris.
I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt you. Is her name Zoriana or just Zoriana? Because the way it's on the docket is Zoriana. How does she spell her name?
Very loudly, please spell your name for the court, Ms. Harris.
Z-O. Can you hear me? Lovely.
I'm over here by the mic.
Z-O-R-I-A.
I didn't.
Z-O-R-I-A-N-A.
Okay, so it should be A on the this. Thank you. How is it in the file? It's not. Well, that's the people. So it's, the register says Zoriana without A.
Oh, mine says ring up. With the A.
Well, no. Where is it good?
Well, it's not on here. Okay, I'll change it.
Okay,
That's weird.
all right. Ms. Ritter, continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, as people were stating, Your Honor.
It must have been changed.
Okay.
Oh, it was changed at the last court date, I changed.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Your Honor. But as we were saying, there was an altercation where Miss Sierra Rochelle tried to intervene being a victim because she saw a physical altercation between Miss Doriana Harris and an unknown male individual. As soon as Miss Rochelle had done that, all the attention turned to Miss Rochelle from Miss Harris, as Miss Harris started an altercation with Miss Rochelle. At that point, Miss Rochelle called complaining witness number one, Miss Amber Coney, who's her cousin who lives down the street. Miss Coney came to the location with a friend, Miss Diamond Branch, who was the eyewitness for the people in this case. Once they arrived at the location, this altercation between Miss Harris and Miss Rochelle escalated to this physical altercation. So the court would hear from Miss Amber Coney, who will testify to what happened when she arrived at the scene. The court would hear from Miss Diamond Branch, who also was at the scene, who will testify and corroborate the facts of the case by Miss Amber Coney. The court will also hear testimony from one or both officers, Officer LaViolet and Officer Romano, and their testimony will pretty much give the court a picture of the demeanor and the, I guess, the observation of the whole situation at this scene is. So, Your Honor, hopefully after the court hears all of the evidence from people, and after the court views the body worn camera from officers, Your Honor, the people are hoping the court return the verdict of guilty on count one and solve that.
Any opening on behalf of the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. So, I'm gonna say to the court ahead of time that I believe that, the events as they transpired are gonna be very difficult. Well, it was difficult for me to follow. I know this court is smarter than I am, but I do, believe that the facts are quite convoluted in this matter. We do believe the evidence is gonna show that there's a separate incident that takes place involving Ms. Harris and an unknown individual, Your Honor. Whereas it would be our position that that unknown individual was perpetrating violence against Ms. Harris, that Ms. Harris, in defending her, was in the process of defending herself, that Sierra Rochelle misjudged the situation, inserted herself in a situation that had absolutely nothing to do with her, that's what started an altercation. We believe that the evidence is going to show that there's been some ongoing menacing behavior at the hands of the witnesses against Ms. Harris and her family for quite some time. We believe that it is going to be difficult for the people to draw a straight line between any allegations made by the complaining witnesses, Your Honor, the complaining witness and the eyewitnesses and Ms. Harris. And we're going to ask at the end of the proof that the court find that people have not met their burden of proof and find Ms. Harris not guilty.
All right, people may call their first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, if people would like to call Amber Coney to the stand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you may be seated. I'm focused, Ms. Stevenson, don't worry.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right, Ms. Ritter.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor, before I begin, did the court want me to send in an amended complaint with corrected name?
No, I think it's,
I don't necessarily, hold on, let me see. So I'm just looking at my complaint, and it's reading without the A on the.
oh, and that's
So
why
it might have been.
so Mr. Flanagan did, he updated in the system, but if you could amend that so that, and in case she's ever looking for it or need it or whatever.
I understand, Judge, so I'll do that before we try.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Ms. Coney.
Good morning.
Ms. Coney, can you state your full name for the record?
Amber Coney.
Okay, and Ms. Coney, there's a mic right in front of you. Yep, it's adjustable, so if you can pull it down, adjust it to where you are, and then speak up to the mic so that the court reporter and everybody can hear you, okay? Thank you. So state your name for the record again, Ms. Coney.
Amber Coney.
Thank you. And Ms. Coney, I want to take you back to June 18th of 2023. Do you recall that day?
Yes.
Okay, and where were you on that day?
Initially, I was at home,
And, without telling me the numbers of your address, what street?
Schaefer.
Okay, and is that in the city of Detroit?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that within the county of Wayne?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened, well, let me ask you this way. Did anything happen on that day while you were at home that brings you to court today?
Yes.
Okay, can you start off by telling the court what happened?
My cousin Sierra Rochelle gave me a call and said that it was about 3 or 4 girls that were trying to jump her.
Okay, and just to clarify, where were you when you received the call?
At home.
Okay, and what happened after you received that call?
I put my clothes on and went down the street to my cousin's house.
Okay, and who's the cousin's house that you went to?
Sierra Rochelle.
Okay, and, where do you live in relation to Miss Rochelle?
Literally right down the street.
Okay, so what street does Miss Rochelle live on?
Schaefer.
Okay, and is that within the city of Detroit?
Yes.
Is that within the county of Wayne?
Yes.
Thank you. And what happened when you arrived at Miss Rochelle's house?
When I went to her house, I just told her to come and get in the car with me, so we can just leave the scene.
Okay, and, you said that you were in the car, so were you driving? Did you drive to Miss Rochelle's
Yes.
house? Okay, and were you alone or were you with someone?
I was with Diamond.
Okay, and who was Diamond?
Diamond is my friend.
Okay. Okay, and I'm sorry, what's her full name?
Diamond Branch.
Okay, so you were in the car with Miss Branch?
Yes.
And you both go to Miss Rochelle's house?
Yes.
Okay, now, when you
I
arrived,
just want you to know that it's just me. Or you might want to slow down a little bit if you want me to get on.
I'm sorry, I'm going a little fast.
Okay, you are, I'm on the road, but I don't do shorthand, but I'm writing.
Sorry, good. Let me just step back 1 minute, Ms. Conley. So, when you arrived at Miss Rochelle's house, was there anyone there with Miss Rochelle?
Her daughter, her 3-year-old daughter.
Her 3-year-old daughter, okay. Was there anyone else there with Miss Rochelle?
No, ma'am.
Okay, when you arrived at that location, did you see anyone else in that vicinity?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and did Miss Rochelle get in the car and go with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and where did you guys head to?
My house.
Okay, and what happened when you got to your house?
Sierra realized that she left her purse, so we had to turn back around and go to her house and grab her purse.
And you're referring to her as Sierra, but that's Miss Rochelle?
Yes, ma'am, Sierra Rochelle.
Thank you. And what happened when she went back to her home?
She got out of my car. The Zoraine, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, Miss Zoraine Harris, and 3 other women were outside trying to argue with Sierra Rochelle.
All right, let me just stop you right there, Ms. Coney. The person you're referring to as Zoraine or Zoraine Harris, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you point that person out and tell me what they are wearing?
Right there, and she has on black shirt, black pants.
Can you describe anything else about that person?
Today,
Yes, as you're looking at.
she has a headband on, black shoes.
Okay, your judge, at this time in the record, put the identification of the defendant as Zoriana Harris.
The record will reflect the identification of Zoe.
Thank you. And, if anything, what did you observe about Ms. Harris?
Today,
No,
at the scene,
Yes,
very irate, very combative, arguing with Sierra Rochelle.
Where were you standing when you noticed this?
I was in my car still.
So you were still in the car?
Mhm.
Where was Miss Rochelle?
Sierra was on her porch.
Okay, and where was Miss Zoriana Harris?
They were in the middle of the street, in the middle of Shaper Highway,
Okay, where is that in relation to Miss Rochelle's house?
directly in front of the house, just in the street.
Okay, and then, I'm sorry, did you say that Miss Harris, Miss Zoriana Harris was with someone or some people?
Yes.
How many
yes.
people was she with?
It was two or three, it was three altogether.
Okay, now prior to seeing Miss Harris and these other people, did you know them?
No,
Have you came into contact with them before?
no,
Okay. Did you know the other people that Miss Harris was with?
no.
And what happened next, Ms. Coney?
After that, I told Sierra, don't argue with them, go and get your purse and let's go. I was initially trying to leave the scene, so we don't have to argue, fight, or none of that.
Okay. And what happened after that?
After that, Sierra grabbed her purse, came back outside, they were still in the street trying to argue, but they were walking closer to her house, into my car. My
Who
car
is that?
said Zorian Harris and the two other ladies that was with her,
Okay, now where was your car located when?
directly in front of Sierra's house.
Ms. Coney, make sure you let her completely finish her question before you answer. What is your question?
Where was your car in relation to this, or, I'm sorry, where's your car located at this time?
Directly in front of Sierra's house, Sierra Rochelle's house.
Okay, and where was Ms. Harris and these other individuals with respect to where your car was located?
Literally right next to my car.
Okay, and what did you do after you noticed these individuals walking towards Ms. Rochelle's house?
I got out of my car because I was in the car with her child.
Who was her
And
child?
Sierra Rochelle's child,
Okay,
and she was 3 years old. So I got out of the car to try to diffuse the situation and get Sierra into my car,
okay, and where was Sierra when you got out of the car?
in the middle of the street.
Okay, and where was Ms. Harris and the other individuals?
In the middle of the street, directly in front of us.
Okay, now, if you can recall, what was the distance between Ms. Rochelle and Ms. Harris and these other individuals?
We were directly in front of each other, so maybe inches apart, we were talking.
Okay, and at this time, where are you sitting?
I'm standing directly in front of Zorian Harris. Sierra Rochelle was standing in front of another woman, I don't know her name.
Okay. What happened next?
After that, we were talking, I was trying
Who
to
is we?
diffuse, me, Sierra Rochelle, Zorian Harris, and the other young lady, we were talking. I was trying to diffuse the situation, or see what may have happened, or how we can diffuse the situation.
And at this time, did you know what was going on
No, ma'am,
between Ms. Rochelle and Ms. Harris, I'm referring
no, ma'am.
to? Okay, and what happened next?
After that, we looked back and Diamond Branch was getting jumped. So once we seen Diamond Branch get jumped, we ran towards that way, and immediately Zorian Harris pepper sprayed me and Sierra Rochelle in our eyes.
Okay, so let's step back just a little bit and kind of unpack that. So you said you turned around and Miss Diamond Branch was getting jumped. Okay,
Yes,
where was Miss Diamond Branch?
maybe 2 feet away from us.
Okay, in relation to where you were standing, was she in front of you, behind you, on the side of you?
She was behind us.
Okay.
We turned around. and
Okay.
seen her jump.
Okay, and when you say getting jumped, how many people were in this altercation with Miss Branch?
It was like two. And then after that, Zorian Harris and then the other young lady that was standing with Zorian Harris ran towards that way and jumped in and jumped her as well.
Okay.
After they pepper sprayed me and Sierra Rochelle.
Okay, so let's go back again a little bit. The two individuals that were jumping Miss Branch, were they originally the individuals that was with Miss Harris?
Yes,
Okay, and pause. Okay. And what happened after you noticed Ms. Branch in a physical altercation with these two other people?
All we had time enough to do was turn around.
Okay.
We turned around, me and Sierra Rochelle turned around, we seen Diamond Branch getting jumped. Once we all noticed, including Zariah Harris and the other young lady that was standing with Zariah Harris, once we all noticed that Diamond Branch was getting jumped, we ran that way. Zariah Harris immediately pepper sprayed me first in my eyes, and then she sprayed Sierra Rochelle in her eyes.
Okay, so did you get pepper sprayed before or after you started to run in Ms. Branch's direction?
Literally the same time.
Okay, so simultaneously you're getting
Yes,
pepper
ma'am.
sprayed while you're running toward that direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what about Ms. Rochelle?
The same.
Okay, now where was Ms. Rochelle standing when you were pepper sprayed?
Right next to me.
Okay, and before you noticed Ms. Branch in this physical altercation with these two people, did you hear, or see anything with respect to Ms. Branch before that physical altercation?
No, me and Sierra Rochelle was literally talking to Zariah Harris and the other young lady. To be honest, I never even expected that to happen. We were just talking, it wasn't an argument, I'm not an irate person, so it didn't get to that level. I didn't even know that Zariah Harris had pepper spray in her hands. She had her hands behind her back.
Okay, now, while you were talking to Ms. Harris before you noticed Ms. Branch's altercation, do you recall where Ms. Branch was?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so, what happened after, got pepper sprayed and ran in the other direction?
After I got pepper sprayed, I immediately took my shirt off. I was trying to wipe my eyes. That was the initial reaction. I was trying to wipe my eyes. I took my shirt off to help me wipe my eyes because I couldn't see. We had a small child in the car with us,
And where was that child at this time?
in the car crying,
Okay,
and we're on Schaefer in the middle of the street. So my initial reaction was to get the child to safety, but I couldn't because I couldn't see.
okay, so what did you do next?
I took my shirt off and I tried my best to get out the street so I wouldn't get hit by a car.
Okay, what happened after that?
And then I went into Sierra Rochelle's house. Sierra Rochelle immediately got milk, and they were trying to get it out of her eyes. At this time, the small child is still in the car.
Okay, so you said you went to her inside Miss Rochelle's house. Where was Miss Rochelle?
Inside of her house as well. We both were pepper sprayed, so we went into her house.
So did you and Miss Rochelle go into the house at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, and what happened after you got the milk?
I wiped my eyes and then I went to get the baby.
Okay, what happened after that?
After that, Diamond Branch came in and she told us that she got jumped by everybody.
Okay.
And we seen her bruised up, and then we just left the scene after that.
Okay, at any point, did someone call the police?
Yes,
Do you know, if you know, who called the police?
I called the police
Okay, when did you call the police?
when I left the scene.
Okay, and when you left the scene, where did you go?
Went to my house or towards my house.
Okay, and where was Miss Branch?
Ms. Branch was in the car with me as well,
And where was Miss Rochelle?
in the car with me as well.
Okay, and did you call the police during your, during the time you were in the car or when you got home?
When I was in the car.
Okay, and do you recall how long it took the police to come to the scene?
Maybe 30 minutes.
Okay, and where did the police arrive?
On Schaefer, on Zariah Harris' side.
Okay, and when you say Ryan Harris' side, what side are you referring to?
The side of the street that Zariah Harris stays on.
Okay, so with relation to Mr. Rochelle's house, where is that?
Directly across the street.
Okay, so Ms. Harris and Ms. Rochelle stay across the street from each other,
Yes,
from your knowledge?
yes.
Okay, and how do you know the police were at Ms. Harris's house?
Because they were on that side. Zariah Harris, the other young ladies that jumped Diamond as well, was on that side of the street.
Okay, and where were you when you noticed the police at Ms. Harris's house?
In front of Sierra Rochelle's house.
Okay, and, did you have an opportunity to speak with the police?
Yes,
And did you tell them what happened?
yes.
And when you were speaking with the police, where was Ms. Rochelle and Ms. Branch?
Right next to me.
Okay. Now, my last question for you, Ms. Coney, is, did you get permission from Ms. Harris to pepper spray you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor. Boston Secretary.
Your Honor, at this time, I do understand this is highly irregular, but I would ask for a very brief recess, please, prior to proceeding.
You gotta give me a reason.
Your Honor, I need to confirm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Tony, you can have a seat on the front row. No, we still sit. Why you doing it? Like 5 minutes?
I guess, she said three.
Okay, now. I'm supposed to do it too late. And.
Okay, did she get, you don't have to say what she said, but did she tell you if she knew who they were or anything like that?
She said it was the girls across the street.
Okay, and so is it safe to say that maybe within 10 minutes of her being attacked, you arrived at Sierra's house?
About 5 minutes.
Maybe about 5 minutes after she had been attacked by a group of girls, you arrived at Sierra's house?
Yes.
And you didn't see anyone when you got
No, ma'am. Not
Okay.
at Sierra's house. No, ma'am.
Did you see anyone in the immediate vicinity?
I wasn't looking in the immediate vicinity. I was looking at my cousin, grabbing my cousin to leave the scene.
Okay, so did you go inside to get Sierra or did she
No,
just
ma'am.
come out to the car?
She came out.
Okay, and while you were, how long did you have to wait for her to come out?
Maybe about 30 seconds. She
Okay.
was already waiting for me.
She was ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, and did you go over to Sierra's house by yourself?
I came with Diamond Branch.
Okay, all right, so, when you went to pick Sierra up, no, I'm sorry, when you went back to Sierra's house to get Sierra's purse, did Diamond stay in the car?
Initially, yes.
Okay, at some point Diamond got out of the car?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Did Diamond get out of the car while you were talking, trying to defuse the situation?
When I was outside of the car, yes.
Okay, so Sierra is out, after Sierra has gone back to get her purse, she's, in some kind of a situation with how many people?
It was about 4 girls.
Okay, did you see them as they approached?
Yes, I seen them in the middle of the street. I seen them arguing with Sierra Rochelle. Zarian Harris was one of the young women that was arguing with Sierra Rochelle. I told Sierra Rochelle to get in the car. I was initially in the car at that time.
Okay.
Sierra Rochelle got to
Okay,
the middle of
let
the
me
street.
ask you a question. Okay, so you're in the car and did you at any point see these individuals as they approached Sierra?
Yes,
Okay, so Sierra comes, when you came in to get Sierra's purse, did you park right in front of her house?
right in front of her house, yes.
Okay, and so, but Sierra, when she came out of the house, she didn't get right into the car, correct?
She went to my car, yes.
Okay, so at some point she ends up in the middle of the street arguing with other people?
No, she had to get in the middle of the street or get in the street to get into my car. Her
Okay.
daughter was sitting on the side that her house is sitting on.
Mhm.
Sierra Rochelle had to walk to the street to open my car door. At that time, Zarian Harris and the rest of the young women were right directly by my car.
Okay, so you saw them approaching
My
as
car,
Sierra was getting into the car?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, and, how long did it take for you to get out of the car?
I immediately got out of the car once I seen Zarian Harris and the rest of the young women walking towards my car. My initial reaction was to make sure that the child was safe.
Okay,
I had a
okay,
child.
let me ask, I got that, I understand, and that's great, we can have a debate.
Mhm.
Okay, so how do you see this group of people approaching the
Absolutely,
car or approaching Sierra's house?
absolutely.
Okay, and then as they're approaching the house, is Sierra, or your car, is Sierra still trying to make her way to your car?
Sierra was by my car.
Okay, and did she just get in the car?
No, ma'am, because they were walking up on us.
Okay. So if you know, well, you probably wouldn't know, so I'm not gonna answer that question. Okay, so you indicated that you tried to diffuse the situation?
Yes,
Okay, were you talking calmly to everyone?
absolutely.
Was everyone talking calmly back to you?
Yes,
Okay. All right. And did there come a point at all, Ms. Coney, when you would describe the conversation as an argument?
no, I wouldn't describe it as an argument because of our tone of voice and because I was trying to get to the bottom of what happened.
Okay,
And how
okay,
we
let me ask you about that. You were trying to find out what happened before you came over?
Yes, what happened to why they were arguing
in
or
the
why
first
they were
place?
trying to walk up on my car.
Okay, so did you kind of just calmly say, why are you guys walking up on my car?
No, I asked what's going on, what happened.
Okay, all right, okay. And, can you describe Ms. Harris's demeanor at that time?
Calm,
Okay. And can you describe Sierra's demeanor at that
calm,
time? Okay. And do you know at what point Diamond got out of the car?
no, I wasn't looking behind me. Diamond was in the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the side of my car, so that's behind me. I did not see her get out the car. I didn't even see her go around the car. I was talking to Zariah Harris and the other young lady, so we're facing the way of Zariah Harris' house.
Gotcha. Okay, so how many, you gave a statement to the police about this incident?
Yes.
Okay, and did you recall telling the police that about, that Sierra said about 6 people attacked her?
Judge, objection, affirmative.
Well, I guess I was trying to impeach. Let me just do it. So how many people were, so there, you are there when whatever this conversation starts. That's you, that's Ms. Harris, that's Sierra, and who else?
Another woman with Zariah Harris.
Okay, so it's actually 2 people are trying to talk to Sierra?
Zariah Harris and another young woman that was with Zariah Harris was
Okay.
trying to talk to me and Sierra to tell us what was going on.
Okay, did you say earlier that a group of individuals approached Sierra?
Yes,
Okay, how many people are in that group that approached?
I wasn't there when they approached her.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought it was your testimony that as Sierra was trying to get into the car, that a group of individuals approached her.
No, it was Zariah Harris and another young woman was walking towards us.
Okay.
The other ladies that were arguing with Sierra initially just stayed on that side of the street.
Okay, but you weren't there when Sierra was arguing with anybody else,
No,
correct?
ma'am.
Okay, so when you get there, there's some kind of, you get out of the car to talk to Sierra and these 2.
I'll allow it, but it has been answered.
Okay, and with Sierra and 2 other individuals.
Can you repeat the question?
When you got out of the car, to talk to Sierra and 2 other individuals.
I didn't get out to talk to anyone. I got out because Zariah Harris and another young woman was walking towards my car as they were arguing with Sierra from across the street. They walked up on my car, so I got out of the car.
Okay, so I asked you about Zoriana Harris's demeanor at the time. So I thought that you testified that she was calm.
Talking to me, yes, she was calm.
Okay, but as she approaches the car, is when she's arguing. Okay, but she did calm down.
Yes, ma'am. Talking to me, she was calm.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, I don't have anything further this time.
Do you need redirect?
No, you're.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You may sit down. You may call in next week.
Your Honor, it's not, let's call that the rest of the thing.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give you truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. You may be seated. You may be seated.
Thank you, morning, Ms. Branch.
Good morning.
Ms. Branch, can you state your name for the record?
Yes, Diamond Branch.
And Ms. Branch, there's a microphone in front of you that's adjustable, so if you'd like to adjust it to your liking so that you're speaking directly into the mic.
Okay,
Keep your voice up so that the court can hear you and the court reporter can hear you as well, okay?
I got you.
Thank you. Ms. Branch, I want to take you back to June 18th of 2023. Do you recall that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And on that day, were you at a location on Chamber Highway?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that within the city of Detroit?
Yes.
And is that within the county of Wayne?
Yes.
Okay. And did something happen on Chamber Highway that brings you to court today?
Yes.
Can you tell the court, or can you start by telling the court what happened on that day?
Yes, we was already there, at her cousin's house, Amber.
Okay.
Her, cousin's house. We
Okay.
was cooking, we got left to go to the store, we got a call back, saying that, there, the people that was frustrated, that, which is her and her people that's,
I'm the objective here.
I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize to her. What's your response is, overruled, she said what happened, and then she only told me two things.
I'll get my question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So Ms. Branch, let me slow you down just a minute. So when you say we were already there, who are you referring to as we?
Me and Amber,
Okay, and what's Amber's full name?
Coney,
Okay, and whose house were you at on Schaefer Highway?
Sierra's her cousins.
Okay, and do you know Miss Sierra's full name?
No,
Okay, so how long were you at this location before you left?
we was there, about 2 hours, 3 hours, cause we was starting to cook, we was going over to cook to, have like a TV, we was watching something on TV.
Okay,
So we was just doing a little cousin thing to get together. That was all.
you said a little cousin thing?
Yeah, that's
So like
it.
a
Just to
gathering.
eat, yeah, just to eat over there in her house, in her
Okay.
cousin's house.
Okay, and then, you testified that you and who went to the store?
Me and Amber, we went to the grocery store to come back to the house because we had something missing from, like an item that we had missing from the dinner that we need to cook with.
Okay,
I just know we went to the store and we got a call while we was at the store.
okay, do you know who the call came from?
Cece, or her cousin, that's not her, Sierra.
Sierra, okay, and then, did Sierra call you or Miss Combs?
Miss Coney.
Okay, and, without telling me what was said to Ms. Coney, do you know what the nature of the call was about,
It was
from your
something,
knowledge?
I just really didn't hear, I just know that someone hit Cece and said, F her baby.
Okay, now what happened after you and Ms. Coney received that phone call?
We was on our way heading that way anyway, we was on our way heading to her house anyway, like,
Back from the grocery
yeah.
store? Okay, and so what happened when you arrived back at Miss Sierra Rochelle's house?
It was a bunch of them, they all came outside, I don't know what it was, I just know that, I feel like we was watched, because honestly, when we came outside, when I got out the car, I just know that Cece came outside, started talking, and
Talking
it was
to
a bunch of them just talking to us, telling us what was going on.
And when you say us, who are you referring to?
I'm sorry, she was talking to me and Amber Coney, so.
Okay. And where were these group of people when you and Amber Coney was talking to
They
them?
was across the street, walking towards us, our house, our way,
Okay,
or her house, I'm sorry, Cece's house.
okay, and then, did you observe these group of women walking towards you?
Yes,
Where were you located when they were walking towards you?
like in front of her, like, she was talking to us like in her stairs, like in her porch.
Okay, what happened after that?
Next thing you know, they just walked up, like, what's up, what's up? They had stuff in their hand, like, what y'all mean, what's up?
Okay, do you recall how many people there were?
It was like 4, 5 people out there.
Okay, and where was Miss Coney standing at this point?
She was right next to me. Her
Okay.
and her cousin Cece was standing right next to me.
Okay, and you guys were in front of the house?
Yeah, it was in front of the house, but honestly, they was in the street, like on the curb.
Okay, so what happened after that?
And then after that, they swung it up. I started swinging on somebody that she with, some lady that she with. She started swinging, I started swinging on her. So next thing you know, I got yanked from the back from somebody and got pepper sprayed by her.
Okay, now, where were you when you were, in this physical altercation?
See, I honestly, I got sprayed, so I'm in the mid, the street. So, I'm I'm blind, you know, like I can't see nothing, so
Okay,
I guess I was in the street or on the curb, or I don't know, but I was so blind, I'm trying to hurry to get, you know, trying to find a way in the house to get something to, you know, to get the stuff out my eyes.
okay, do you recall, where Miss Coney and Miss Rochelle was?
Miss Rochelle, who was
Or I'm
Miss
sorry,
Rochelle?
Sierra, the person you referred to as Sierra, do you recall where Miss Coney and Sierra was?
After that, no, I didn't,
Okay, do you recall anything else happening after you got pepper sprayed?
no, cause I left.
And where, you know, okay, you said you left,
After I got cleared my eyes with milk, I went home.
okay. And you didn't see anything else after that?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Is
now the
that a
per-
yes or no? No, no, no.
okay, now, I wanna go back to where you said you were pepper sprayed.
Yes,
The person who pepper sprayed you, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
yeah, right there.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, can you point to that person and tell me what they are wearing?
She had, that day, you talking about the day when
No,
they,
I'm talking about what you see in court, the person, can you point them out and tell me what they're wearing.
she got on all black with, baby, ballet shoes, what you call them, baby shoes, all black on, she got on all black with the hair down. Stop, don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it.
I'm sorry. May the record reflect the identification of Zoriana Harris.
The record reflects the identification of Zoriana Harris.
Thank you. And then, let me ask you this, Ms. Branch.
Yes,
Before this altercation, have you seen Ms. Harris before?
no, after that, no.
No, before this altercation, have you seen her?
Oh, no, mm-mm.
Do you know?
None of these people.
Okay, do you know Ms. Harris?
Do I know her? Do I know this lady?
Yes.
No.
Okay, the person who pepper sprayed you, did they say anything when you came back to the location of where Miss Sierra was?
No.
Okay, and your testimony was that the person who pepper sprayed you, she was with a group of individuals?
Yes. Actually, they're outside.
Say that again?
They're out there sitting. Those are the people that she was with, the people that's out there with her.
Oh, they're outside of the courtroom?
Those are the people, yes.
Okay, and those are the people that were within this group?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, were any of those people the people that you had a physical altercation?
Yes.
And Ms. Branch, I just wanted to ask, if you know, not what was told to you, but if you know from your personal knowledge, why Ms. Harris came over with these group of people to Ms. Sierra's house?
Honestly, Sierra, like I said, I don't know, I guess they had some type of issue or something was going on, I'm not sure
Speculation.
what's going on, cause
Hold on.
sustain.
Okay. And Ms. Branch, did you give Ms. Harris consent to pepper spray you at that time?
No,
Is that a no?
no, ma'am.
Okay.
I didn't even know none of this was gonna happen. I didn't see, first of all, I didn't even see nobody coming behind me. Didn't see nobody coming to spray me or anything, so I didn't see none of this until, like, I just know I got yanked and sprayed at the same time.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time.
All right, can we both approach?
Yes.
Front door, on side.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Bryant.
Yes, I know.
Good, thank you. Okay, so on, June 18th of 2023, So at some point you are over at Sierra Rochelle's house?
Yes, we was already there.
Okay, so, before this incident that you described happened, how long had you been at Sierra Rochelle's house?
That's what I'm saying, we got there, I can say we got, now I can say, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It was like about 3, 4 o'clock. We was over there already, sitting over there getting food, together.
Okay, who is we?
Me and Amber and her cousin, that was all that was over there in her house.
Okay, so for about, at least a couple of hours.
Yes.
You and Amber and Sierra are over at Sierra's apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Or she has I guess you can call it her, I'm sorry.
at wherever Sierra lives.
Yes, her house.
Mhm,
Yes.
at her place. Okay, and then, so. And how did you and Amber come to go over to Sierra's place?
What do you mean by
How
that?
that
We
happened?
already had a plan on going over there.
So you and Amber planned to go over to Sierra?
Yes.
Kinda-
Before all this is even, like I said, we was on our way heading to Sierra, we was on our way heading back to Sierra's house. We got the call on the way back to Sierra's house. That was it.
But I mean, before you left Sierra's house, you had
Yes.
been over there for a few hours?
Yes,
Okay, and that's because you guys planned to be over
Yeah.
there and have a cookout?
yeah, we already talked about that.
Okay, all right. And at any time that you're in the car, when you went to the store or whatever, is there a child in the car with you?
Mm-mm. No kids at all.
Were there any kids at Sierra's house that day?
No kids at all.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Yes, it was. Cause like I said, I got a call not I got a call. Amber Coney got a call saying something about one of them was gonna slap her kid. You right. So yes, that's what I heard. So I heard one of them from Amber Coney said one of them was supposed to have so-called smacked one of her kid or something like
Is
that.
that when you guys were at the store?
Yeah. When
Okay,
when she got the call on our way heading back to Sierra's house.
from the store,
From the store, yes.
okay, but before you went to the store, you had already been over there a long time.
Yes.
Okay.
It was only her daughter there,
Okay,
but her daughter had ended up leaving, so all of that. So she wasn't even there for that long after that because we wasn't for sure what was gonna really happen. So baby was gone. But
the baby was gone?
no, I'm saying she took her baby, but like someone came pick up the baby.
So another person came over to the house and picked up Sierra's baby?
I don't know. The baby was gone once we left. Once we left to go to the store, she was gone already. She wasn't there till the house when we came back. So I don't know who came and got it.
Okay, so the baby was at the house when you guys went to the store,
There's objection to answer.
but I'm just trying to get clear.
The baby was there.
Hold on, there's an objection on the floor, and whether you're trying to get clarification or not, is it asked and answered. The baby was gone when they came back from the store, asked and answered.
Okay, but you got a phone, but there was a phone call saying somebody tried to hit the child,
Yes,
and that's why you guys went back to the house?
yes.
Okay.
And she always
Hold on, there's no question on. Okay.
Okay, so you testified that somebody came from behind and you got grabbed and sprayed at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was it the same person who grabbed you and sprayed you?
No.
There was multiple people,
Yes.
okay. All right, I don't have any further.
Any cross-examination? Redirect? I apologize. Any redirect?
Yes, sir, very briefly. So, Ms. Branch, you testified that you and Ms. Coney were at Sierra's house 2 hours before you left.
Yeah.
How long were you gone when you left the location?
We wasn't gone for that long. It was probably less than 20, 30 minutes, honestly.
Okay.
It wasn't even that long because like we got like 3, 4 items, that's it.
Okay, now, during the time when you were not at Sierra's house,
No, but
did you go anywhere else besides the grocery store?
no.
Okay, and you testified that it was just you and Ms. Coney?
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Okay, after you testified that you were yanked from behind and pepper sprayed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. After that altercation, did you come in contact with the police?
No,
Okay. Did you see the police come to the scene?
yes.
Okay, where were you when they came to the scene?
We was downstairs, still on the porch. They came and talked to us. So I don't know who called, but I just know police was reached out and they came and talked to us separately. So that was it.
When you say separately. who
They came and talked, not me, they didn't talk to me. They talked to Sierra and, Amber Coney. And I guess they was on their side talking to them, trying to get, what was the story, get the story out of us.
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. You may step down.
Okay.
Ms. Ritter, were your witnesses checking in?
I think they should,
You did what?
they're checking in person for the 12. I think they're in person.
Are they here yet? Oh, okay, because Mr. Love is here, just where you want.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, any further, witness on behalf of the, people?
Yes, Your Honor, at this time, people like to call Officer LaViolette.
Okay.
LaViolette.
Good morning. Hold on, get her.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It does.
Yes. Let me see. Let's see.
Okay. Do you know that you almost couldn't fit through the door?
I'm sorry. 6.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't worry. Raise your right hand for me. I don't think you're gonna be able to.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. You may sit in the witness. Okay. Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer LaViolette.
Good morning, ma'am.
Officer LaViolette, there's a mic.
I do apologize, before you do that. Spell your name for me.
Yes, ma'am. This will be LAVIOLETTE.
Oh, LaViolette. Okay, thank you.
I can see Your Honor.
You may, yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Officer LaViolette, there's a microphone in front of you, it's your height, I'm assuming you need to adjust that. So just, adjust it if you need to, and make sure you speak up into the mic so that everyone can hear you in the courtroom, okay?
Understood.
All right, thank you. Officer LaViolette, can you state your full name for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Michael LaViolette,
Thank you. And Officer LaViolette, where are you employed?
Detroit Police Department, 2nd Precinct.
And how long have you been employed with the Detroit Police Department?
A year and a half.
Okay, and I want to take you back to June 18th, 2023. Were you employed with, the Detroit Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were you on duty that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can you describe what you were wearing on that day?
I would have been in my blue patrol police uniform at the time.
Okay, and did something happen on Shaper Highway, that brings you to court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how did you, become known to an incident on Shaper Highway?
Yeah, on that date, I was dispatched to an aggravated assault police run in the location of 802 or 8207 Shaker.
Okay, now, were you with anyone when you were dispatched to that location?
My partner that day, Officer Romano.
Okay, and were you in a vehicle, on foot, on bike, how were you traveling?
Fully marked white Scout car.
Okay, and were you the driver or the passenger of that stop car?
I was the driver that day.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, you were with your partner, Officer Romano?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you with anyone else?
Officers Eads and Ochoa also made the location.
Okay, now, did they make the location with you or separate?
Separately, that would be several minutes after.
Okay, did you arrive before or after Officer Edith and Officer Ocha?
Before.
Before, okay. And do you recall, what you observed when you arrived to that location?
I do.
Okay, can you start by telling the court what you observed when you came to Schaefer Highway?
Yes, I arrived on scene, first made contact with Ms. Rochelle. I observed her eyes, had an irritant, they were flush, running with liquid.
Okay. And, oh, go ahead.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, and what happened after you noticed that?
Ms. Rochelle stated she'd been pepper sprayed in a physical altercation that occurred.
Okay, without telling me what was said, did she tell you who had pepper sprayed her?
That was Ms. Harris.
Okay, now the person you refer to as Ms. Harris, do you see that person in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you point that person out and tell me what that person is wearing?
Yes, ma'am. It's gonna be a black, silk blouse or satin type blouse.
Okay, can you describe anything else about that person?
Black headband.
Okay, judge, may the record reflect the identification of Zoriana Harris?
Record reflects the identification of Zoriana Harris.
Okay, and, what happened after you received that information from Ms. Rochelle?
Medics were ordered from Ms. Rochelle. They received statements from Ms. Harris and Ms. Rochelle.
Okay, now, did you ever come in contact with Ms. Harris?
I did.
Okay, do you recall where you came in contact with Ms. Harris?
That would be across the street, at the same location of the police run.
Okay, when you say across the street from whom?
From the 8207 Schaefer, be on the west side of the street.
Okay, so Ms. Harris was on the, opposite side of the street.
She was on the west side.
Oh, she was on the west side. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, and, did you observe anything about Ms. Harris when you came in contact with her?
Nothing physically.
Okay, what about her demeanor?
Demeanor, agitated, frustrated, elevated voice.
Okay, and without telling me what was said, did she say anything?
That an altercation occurred in the street in front of these two locations.
Okay,
I apologize. Who is he telling me said it? Who are you talking about right now?
Ms. Harris.
Thank you so much.
and, did you notice anyone else with Ms. Harris?
I believe she stated it was her grandmother, also Ms. Harris.
Okay, and was there anyone else?
I don't recall.
You don't recall, okay. And then, when you say that, you observed Ms. Harris to be agitated and elevated, can you kind of further elaborate on those observations?
Mainly, like I said, elevated voice, shouting. I could tell she was frustrated with the situation.
Do you know who she was shouting at?
More towards my partner and myself, but not directed at us in general, shouting.
Okay. At this time, when Ms. Harris was shouting, did you notice anything else about the location or the scene?
I did notice that the window behind her was broken.
Okay. Did you notice anything pertaining to this specific run at this location?
I later learned that the broken window was alleged to be in conjunction with this.
Okay. And did you receive a statement from Ms. Harris?
I did.
Okay. Now, Officer LaViolette,
Yes, ma'am.
were you wearing a body worn camera that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it operable?
I believe so, ma'am.
Okay. You may. So, Mr. LaViolette, there's a monitor in the courtroom. Can you see the monitor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's a screenshot of a video. Does that screenshot look familiar to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, what does it look like to you?
I recognize my watch on my right wrist and myself in the driver's seat of this vehicle.
Okay, and at this point, does anything look like it was altered or changed in any way?
Not to my knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, now would this be the viewpoint of your body worn camera?
It would be.
Where's your body worn camera located on yourself?
At the time, it would be on my right side center of my chest.
Okay, you said the center of your chest?
Center, a little skewed to the right, yes.
Okay, and, is this the same body worn camera that you turn in, well, strike that, let me not, that's kind of weird. What do you do with your body worn camera at the end of your shift every day?
We return them to the station, they're docked, in order to be uploaded.
Okay, and you said from your, viewpoint, this hasn't been changed or altered in any way?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, Judge, at this time, I'm sorry, Judge, this is people's exhibit one that was admitted to evidence that officer provided this body worn camera.
Okay,
And at this time, if you would like to publish it to the court.
yes, but wait.
Okay.
Can you stop sharing your screen? I wanna switch, and bring in Mr. Loving so he can make his way.
Bring up.
Yes, your witnesses, I think, are here.
Can I just have one reason to confirm if this
Oh, okay.
necessary witness again, officer?
Well, it's 4 of them.
Okay,
You
can I
got
get
12 of them, go ahead.
Thank you.
It's 4 of them, he says, 4 of them.
Okay.
4 of them. Mr. Loving? Start your camera, sir. Mr. Loving? Start your camera, sir. All right, this is case number 234524001, the people of the state of Michigan versus Marvin Chelsea Loving. The defendant is charged with weapons, firearms, improper use, reckless use. Today is the day set for trial. Appearances, please.
For the record, Your Honor, Christina Ritter on behalf of the people. Your Honor, I have my officer in charge, Officer Juan, present in the courtroom, as well as the assistant officers in this case. I don't know if you want everybody to appear on the record.
Not everyone, who's OIC? All right, state your name.
Officer Juan, A1,
Thank you.
For the record, Your Honor, Janice Stevenson appearing on behalf of Mr. Marvin Loving. Mr. Loving, sir, please unmute and say your first, middle, and last names.
Marvin Chelsea Loving.
Today's the day set for trial. Are the people ready to proceed?
So, Your Honor, today is the day and time set for trial. The people are not ready to proceed, but I would like to, for the record, Your Honor.
You're not ready to proceed with all of these 5 officers in here?
No, Your Honor, but I would like to make a record as to why the people can't proceed.
Yeah, because I don't believe you. Now I'm gonna make all the officers put their name on the record. Let's go down the road. Put your names on the record. I got you. Oh, I see. Officer?
Detective Edward Lehman.
Officer Corsi.
Officer Emmanuel Huerta.
Officer Justin Matthews.
And the people are not ready to proceed?
We are not, Judge. First of all, people like to thank the officers for showing up as they were subpoenaed to show up for this case. However, Judge, there are 2 necessary civilian witnesses. That is a Mr. Jonathan Allen and a Ms. Tiana Griffin. These necessary witnesses are necessary to the case in order for the people to meet their burden. And unfortunately, they are not here. They were subpoenaed. I have my OIC present in the courtroom who can testify as to the subpoenas that were sent to the complaining witnesses, or I'm sorry, the necessary witnesses electronically. They are not located in the Metro Detroit area. They do live in Battle Creek, I believe, at this time. But the subpoenas were sent electronically to them, and they were notified to appear today in court. However, the hallway was scanned by my OIC, and they are not present. So without their testimony, Your Honor, the people will not be able to prove their burden, unfortunately, and we will not be able to move forward with that trial.
Well, hold on, so OIC, you sent subpoenas electronically to these two individuals?
I did, ma'am. I gave him a call, Mr. Griffin, in regards to the case, and he had stated to me that he had moved to Battle Creek recently. I asked him for his primary number, which is the one on the report. I asked that I could send him digital subpoenas to him, and then he gave me a reply saying that he got it back. And on March the 10th, when I got a message back saying that he received both the subpoenas to appear today.
And did he say whether he and I guess the other witness did they indicate whether they intended to appear?
I got just the information back. These are the subpoenas. I sent the message verbatim. These are subpoenas to appear in court on such day as listed, and he needed to reply to me. Okay, that's what I got.
And your subpoena, did it give the 12 o'clock time or the 1:30 time?
12 o'clock.
Okay, well, this is what I'm gonna do. Let's proceed with, back to Ms. Harris's case. I'm gonna give the witnesses until, a little bit long. I didn't know there were civilian witnesses also. I'm gonna give them until about 12:15-ish, or so to appear, and then I'll see, based on, what the OIC has just said. So what you can do is, I mean, they look so ready, that's right, but, I don't know how you wanna do it, Ms. Ritter. I'm gonna give the witnesses a little bit longer to see if they appear.
That's fine, Judge, and if the officer would just wait down in the hallway.
Okay,
That's okay.
and then, yeah, let's see, because I would hate for them to come all the way from Battle Creek and not call the case exactly. I usually give some type of grace period, so let's give them a little grace period.
Understood, Judge.
All right, Mr. Loving, I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room and I'm gonna recall the case before, I guess I'll try to do it before Ms. Neeson does any cross-examination with the officer. All right, so hold tight, Mr. Loving.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, you may publish to the board.
Thank you, ma'am. For the record, the video is starting at the beginning.
Okay.
I went and got more guns and I'm over here talking. I'm over here talking. I'm gonna be every bit.
Now, the people pause the video at 47 seconds. Officer Lombardi, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you recognize that person that looks black hoodie or jacket?
I do.
Okay, and do you recognize that person to be in the black?
The defendant.
Okay, and is that the same you identified for today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. And I got a video.
Me first. Let's go over here. Talk with me
Can
first.
I tell you? I got a
We're going over here. We're gonna talk.
You over here so we can talk. Shut the fuck up, bitch! Ma'am! You fat ass bitch!
Over here.
Sick of this bitch. I waited there. I was outside. She just put up in that little white car and hit me in the head.
1 second. Ma'am, we need you to walk over here right now. Do not yell. Ma'am, turn around right now and come talk to us. Ma'am, come over here. Come over here. Walk over there.
You're gonna have to take me.
Okay.
No, sorry, you're not. They want to take me. No, sorry. No, they're trying to help me, sorry. They just went and got more girls. That's it. They went and got more girls.
Calm down. What is going on right now?
They came back, right? First they came back with a shank, whatever the fuck she had, and I'm sitting out here so I can give you guys a call and let you guys know when they pull up, right? So I got a video of them saying they're gonna come back at night and light this bitch up. I promise. I got a video, I got pictures, everything in case they ran off. I got the license plate and all that. You know what I mean? That's the car they were driving. They're all over there now. And how this happened at all? First off, there was this guy, he was messing with my 12-year-old sister, right? So I was telling him, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's 12. And I don't know, he's down there in that area whatsoever, and I chased him away. So the girl across the street, she's like, calling people to come get us because we were chasing the man down the street to get him away from our area, messing with our little sister. And then I'm telling her, like, ma'am, you don't even know what's going on. Like, there's no reason for you to be calling on us at all. And then she was like, he's innocent. You don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know this guy. This is the one he was messing with. This is the one. And so I tell her, like, ma'am, you need to go mind your motherfucking business. And that's how all the fucking chaos started happening. So she came, she was already on her property. I was over here, and I was telling her, mind your business. She came to me in my face with her phone, calling, and that's when I'm like, ma'am, back up. So I pushed her back up a little bit, and then she went on by her business. But then they came back, and they started starting with us. And that's how the maid situation and the pot thing happened.
And the people are stopping the video at 2 minutes and 54 seconds. So, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Then I'm sorry. So Officer LaViolet, from what you can remember, is that a correct recitation of what you remember on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Does I have no further questions?
You may start cross-examination, it's not quite.
I don't, Officer, Violet, so how tall are you?
6'10", ma'am.
6'10",
That didn't have
okay.
anything to do with you.
That's the only question.
I should have told you not to answer the question.
I should have objected.
No further questions.
Okay, all right, thank you, Officer LaViolet, you may step down. All right, you too. Watch your head. I know people mess with him all the time, that's so unfair. Anything further on behalf of the people?
Nothing further on behalf of the people, not.
The people rest?
The people do rest every time.
All right, will there be anything on behalf of the defense?
Defense rest.
All right, Ms. Harris, stand please. What's your name for me?
Yes, you should.
Yes, so she was talking too low now, and let me say this, Ms. Harris, now you weren't talking low on the video, I just saw I could hear you clearly. But okay.
You know what, Judge, my motion, or my resting may have been pretty much. I didn't.
Okay, I mean, so you don't wanna rest yet?
Can I just have a minute, a real minute or something, like I won't go into any office or anything like that.
Yeah, cause it's going, I'm not gonna even let you.
I won't, I've got something right outside.
Okay, or I'm gonna have the officers, oh, well, you might be trying to talk in private, but as soon as a minute is up, she coming out there.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Okay.
You all don't have problem?
No, you know, we have one, but.
I know you do. Gotta make me have 2 or 3. Do I have anything else? Oh, look at all these. It's working.
Just can I go check with my officer on the other case, because I think he was trying to pause on.
Oh, okay, yes. Mhm. All right, so do the people, does the defense still rest?
Defense rests, Your
Okay, Ms. Harris, your lawyer indicated, defense rest, that means that she doesn't intend to put on any evidence. You understand that? Okay, and, that also means that, you do not intend to testify. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand that you have a right, to remain silent, which also means, the alternative is you also have a right to testify. Do you understand? And do you understand that the decision of whether or not you will testify is your decision? Do you understand?
Yes.
And while it is very important for you to discuss that decision and the ramifications of it with your lawyer, the ultimate decision is yours and yours alone. Do you understand? And what is your decision? Is your decision to testify or not to testify? You need some more time to talk to your lawyer? I can't hear you.
Yes, just a little more, that's all.
Okay, go ahead in the hall, but before she can go in the hall right now, but I want you to wait. Okay, Ms. Ritter, did you want to bring your witnesses back in on the other case?
Yeah.
Okay,
All of them good.
I mean, that's a little intimidating, but you can.
It's Friday.
What kind of time posted?
Anytime.
Why is it private?
314, 314.
Oh, that's right. So that means I can get a
Tart, a pie pie, pizza,
oh, I'm gonna get me, oh, I'm going to get some.
quiche.
Oh, it don't include the ones you gave me. I want that, I'm getting another pie. Okay, Mr. Loving. All right,
Hello?
we're recalling the people of the state of Michigan versus Marvin Loving. Okay, it is now 12:18. I've given the people an opportunity to try to see if the two additional witnesses were on their way, en route, here, planning to appear. Ms. Ritter?
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, my bossy has indicated that he did try to reach out to the two necessary witnesses, Mr. Jonathan Allen and Ms. Tiana Griffin, who are, from my understanding, they're together. Is that correct? Also, one, they are together, so he did try to reach out to the phone number he had listed for Mr. Allen. And I'll let Officer Kwan put that information on the record if allowed.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I called Mr. Allen at the phone number I called him on the 10th to confirm our court date today, and I was taking the voicemail.
So with that information given, Your Honor, again, Mr. Allen and Ms. Griffin are not in the hallway. From my knowledge, it is now 12:19. And at this time, Your Honor, the people will not be able to proceed to the trial set for today.
All right, Mrs. Stevenson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move for dismissal.
All right, today is the date set for trial. And the check-in time was 12 o'clock. It is now 12:19 according to the court clock. The OIC has tried to reach out to the two additional civilian witnesses without success. And the people are unable to proceed without their cooperation and testimony, and therefore the court is going to grant defense counsel's motion and dismiss the matters without prejudice. Mr. Loving, we will mail you a copy of the order of dismissal for your records, sir. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
And thank the other officers.
I will, thanks, guys.
All right, you're all set, Mr. Loving.
Okay.
Ms. Easton,
Thank you, Judge.
I guess I'll give you a little bit more
Okay,
time.
thank you. Thank
little
you
bit
so
more
much,
time.
Your Honor. I really appreciate that.
All right, Ms. Harris, you've had an opportunity to speak to your lawyer again without me putting a time limit on you. And is it your decision to testify or not to testify?
I will not testify.
All right, and has anyone threatened you in any way or promised you anything that was not placed on this record to get you to give up your right to testify in this case?
No.
All right, you can go back to your seat. Okay. Then anyone that was in the hall being kept out of the situation, they can come in. And Ms. Ritter, are you ready for your closing argument? And I do understand, realize that it's 12:24, but I'm gonna go ahead and work this, see. You know, we can go until 1:00 if that's, oh, wait, we have a 1:30 now. Okay, but let's just go to 1:30. I mean, let's just go do closing argument.
Judge, as the people stated in opening, this was an interesting, set of facts that was displayed from this court today. The court heard testimony that, from Ms. Coney, that she was at her location at her cousin's house, she left, and then she received a call from her cousin to come back to the location because there was an altercation between,
Why you sit y'all so close? Y'all know each other? Y'all with each other?
I'm her mother.
You're that young lady's mother? Oh, okay. I was saying, why you sit y'all so close? That ain't social distance. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Rivera.
I'm sorry, Judge. So, the complaining witness, Ms. Amber Coney, testified that she came back to the location of her cousin Sierra Rochelle's house. There was some type of argument between Ms. Rochelle and Ms. Harris. And when Ms. Coney came back to the location to try to defuse the situation, that's when she came in contact with Ms. Harris. She testified that as she was talking to Ms. Harris, her and Ms. Rochelle, there was a calm, mutual discussion between the parties. All of a sudden, Ms. Coney testified, she turns around and she sees that Ms. Branch is getting jumped by two individuals that were with Ms. Harris at the time. She testified that when she ran toward that direction, she was pepper sprayed by Ms. Harris, her and Ms. Rochelle. The court heard testimony from Ms. Branch that she was at this location with Ms. Coney, who was Ms. Coney's cousin, Ms. Sierra Rochelle. They were there for some time cooking a dinner. They left the location to go to the grocery store, and Ms. Coney and Ms. Branch, as they were both together coming back from the grocery store, they got a call from Ms. Sierra Rochelle stating that there had been an altercation between Ms. Harris and Ms. Rochelle. Ms. Branch also testified that when she got to that location, she was yanked from behind, and then by a person, she didn't know who yanked her from behind, but at the same time that she was being yanked from behind, she was pepper sprayed by Ms. Harris. The court also heard testimony from Officer LaViolet. Officer LaViolet testified as to his observations of what happened when he came to the scene. His testimony was that when he approached the scene, he saw that Ms. Rochelle had some liquids coming down from her eyes, and he then spoke with Ms. Harris. He testified that his observations of Ms. Harris were that she had an elevated voice and she was very irate. That testimony corroborates the body-worn camera that was played in the courtroom that is marked as People's Exhibit 1, which is Officer LaViolet's body-worn camera. And in the body-worn camera, it essentially displayed the same thing that Officer LaViolet testified to, but just to point out a couple of things from the body-worn camera, Your Honor, that the court got a chance to view. Ms. Harris was very aggressive. I would characterize her behavior as very aggressive in this body-worn camera. As she's talking to the officer, she was seen at one point in the body-worn camera trying to go across the street, and the officer had to tell her to come back. I point that out to the court because it shows Ms. Harris as the aggressor in this situation, as the officers are at the scene, and she's still trying to go across the street to the other party, and the officer has to tell her to come back. Another thing that the people want to point out in that body-worn camera is that Ms. Harris was explaining to the officers a situation that had nothing to do with the parties, Ms. Rochelle, Ms. Coney, and Ms. Branch. And there was some situation she was explaining that she was with her 12-year-old sister. Some man, they had said some inappropriate things to her 12-year-old sister, and she was having an altercation with this man. Ms. Harris in the body-worn camera video was stating that Ms. Rochelle was viewing this altercation, and that's when she tried to intervene, telling Ms. Harris, as Ms. Harris was heard in the video, to leave the man alone. That's when Ms. Harris, being the aggressor in the situation, turned her attention from this man and put all her attention on Ms. Rochelle. And that's how this incident got started, because that's what the people's theory was in the opening, is that this situation started that had nothing to do with these parties. Ms. Rochelle trying to de-escalate the situation between two people that she doesn't know or maybe not have been acquainted with. And Ms. Harris then turns her aggression on to Ms. Rochelle, and that's how.
You saying Ms. Rochelle?
Miss Sierra Rochelle, I'm sorry, Sierra Rochelle, yes.
Oh.
And Sierra Rochelle, that's how Sierra Rochelle got into this altercation with Ms. Harris. And that's how Ms. Coney and Ms. Branch, unfortunately, got into this situation as well. Judge, taking the evidence and the testimony that was presented in the court today, I'm gonna ask the court to find Ms. Harris guilty of count one assault or assault and battery against Ms. Amber Coney, but I also want to ask the court, to also find Ms. Harris guilty of count two, which the people would like to add the complaint as respects to Ms. Diamond Branch, also of assault and battery. As a testimony that was given from Ms. Branch is that she was at the location. There was Ms. Harris and a bunch of other girls. Ms. Branch said that she recalled being yanked from behind and then pepper sprayed, and she identified Ms. Harris as pepper spraying her. Again, Your Honor, that is corroboration from the testimony from Ms. Coney, that she was pepper sprayed by Ms. Harris, and the corroboration of the Officer Levida's testimony is that Ms. Rochelle was also had some liquid coming down her eyes, which is corroboration in Ms. Harris having this pepper spray. That was the testimony, Judge, the evidence was provided to the court, and again, the people are asking the court to find Ms. Harris guilty of count one assault and battery, but also adding the count two assault and battery with respect to the Diamond Branch. Thank you, Judge.
On behalf of the defense.
So, I guess I would initially have an objection to the people making the complaint after the defense is rested. So I would ask that not be permitted. But as to count, as to the case, the matter that brings us to court today, the people do have a burden of proof. And when Amber Coney testified, initially, her testimony, made sense until her corroborating witness takes the stand and tells a vastly different story than that which Amber Coney told. Now, Officer LaViolette's testimony, it doesn't add anything to what did or did not happen to Amber Coney, but what it does do is it gives the court a context for this case. And as I said in my opening, I thought it would be difficult for the court to figure out exactly what was going on here. And there's way more happening than came out in the people's case. That when Officer LaViolette arrives, he testified that he saw broken glass in front of the house where he's talking to Ms. Harris, Zoriana Harris. So I would argue that Ms. Coney, and she's the only defendant here, Your Honor, that Ms. Coney's credibility. So the court grants.
You saying defendant?
Excuse me, the only complainant.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, Judge. Thank you very much. That Ms. Coney is the only complaining witness here. And Ms. Coney's credibility is fatally flawed by the fact that her own witness comes and gives a rendition of what happened that is very different from that which Ms. Coney has said. Now, Ms. Coney told the court that she's at home, she gets a call from her cousin Sierra, and 5 minutes later, she leaves her home and goes over to Sierra's home. They pick up Sierra and they leave, and the only reason they return back to Sierra's house is because Sierra has to get something. That Sierra goes in the house to get whatever she had to get, that she's on her way back out of the house, and that's when she comes into contact with these people. That's not what Diamond Branch testified to. Diamond Branch, Ms. Coney's witness, the support for the people's case, says that they're over at that Ms. Branch and Ms. Coney are over at Sierra's house for a couple of hours having a cookout. They're barbecuing and whatever. And the only reason they leave is to go to the store. Now, I don't know what happened over there on Schaefer Highway on the date of this incident. I don't think the people know what happened. I don't think that the trier of fact knows what happened. But the people do have a burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the events transpired the way they're saying they transpired, and they can't prove that when their witnesses contradict each other as to what exactly is going on. Officer LaViolette shows up and the only thing we see is that he has a conversation with somebody who is very upset because of something that's going on there at that scene. The people have a burden of laying it out for the trier of fact, so that the trier of fact can weigh the evidence, not piece together the evidence. And that's what the court, that's what the people are asking the trier of fact to do in this case. I would argue that the people have not met their burden of proof. They have not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that anything happened over there on Schaefer Highway that day, except that the police came out. There's some kind of situation going on. There's some kind of convoluted situation going on. There's some kind of convoluted fact pattern that's at play. And the people have not clearly demonstrated for the trier of fact what did or did not happen. And because of that, I'm asking you to find Zoriana Harris not guilty.
Any rebuttal?
Yes, Your Honor. So, one, the people would just like to address that, sister counsel, pointed out the fact that people added the count two after defense counsel rested. Per the Michigan court rules, people have up to the day of the trial to amend their complaint. And after the testimony was given, the people added that count two of assault and battery with respect to Dr. Branch. Next, Your Honor, I disagree with sister counsel when she says that the people want the court to piece together their case. That's not the case, Your Honor. The people want the court to use their everyday experience and common sense to get the bigger picture of what's going on in the situation. And I think that the evidence that was displayed helps that the court get the bigger picture of what went on. And again, Judge pointed out to that statement in the body on camera from Ms. Harris herself. She tells a story about something that happened between her little sister and some man, and then Ms. Rochelle tries to intervene, and then she's face to face with Ms. Rochelle. She pushes Ms. Rochelle, and then she points out in the body on camera that that's when the mace or the pepper spray was used. And Judge, again, the people asking the court to use their common sense and everyday knowledge, applying what Ms. Harris said to the testimonies that were given. Ms. Coney testified that she was pepper sprayed. She testified that Ms. Rochelle was pepper sprayed. Ms. Branch testified that she was in a physical altercation when she was yanked from behind and then pepper sprayed. And both witnesses testified that it was Ms. Harris that pepper sprayed all three of these individuals. The officer Levette testified, and Officer Levitt testified, and Officer Levitt even told the court that when he came on the scene, Ms. Rochelle had some liquid running down her eyes were irritated, again, from being pepper sprayed by Ms. Harris. So Judge, I'm asking the court to use the court's experience, again, everyday experience and common sense, and I know this court is very smart as to what happened in this case. And again, I'm gonna ask the court to find Ms. Harris guilty count one, assault and battery, with respect to Amber Coney as the original charge, and the amended count two, assault and battery with respect to Dr. Branch. Thank you.
We're gonna address the amendment first. And I was trying to find a court rule, but I don't see it. I wanted to try to put the exact court rule on the record, but the court rules somewhere, indicate that people can amend a complaint, at any time up to, and including up to through, the day of trial and through the trial, based upon the evidence. And then it does say also, something about the court should freely allow the amendment unless it is prejudicial to the parties, and I'm not gonna allow the amendment. I believe that allowing an amendment after the defense rests is prejudicial to the defense, so I'm not gonna allow the amendment. But I couldn't find the exact court rule, so, court not allowing the amendment, indicates now that people have the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about June 18, 2023, at or near a location on Schaefer Highway in the city of Detroit within the county of Wayne, that Zoriana Harris committed one count of assault or assault and battery as to Amber Coney. In order to meet its burden, the people submitted 3 witnesses and 2 exhibits to the court. Only one was published to the court today. And the witnesses testified to an altercation incident. I won't even call it an altercation that occurred that day. Ms. Coney testified that she didn't know what the situation was that occurred previous to her getting involved. So there was some situation that occurred between a person who's not here, did not testify, was not presented to the court. But that some situation occurred, and then at some point, Ms. Coney and Ms. At some point, Ms. Coney and Ms. Branch, got involved. And then they both testified that they were pepper sprayed by Ms. Harris. And of course, court is going to address the inconsistencies of their testimony. And their testimony was inconsistent. There were inconsistencies. For sure, it was a glaring inconsistency. And I'm gonna read into the record, CJI 2nd 3.6 subsection 4. And then of course it says, sometimes the testimony of different witnesses will not agree, and you must decide which testimony you accept. You should think about whether the disagreement involves something important or not, and whether you think someone is lying or simply mistaken. People see and hear things differently, and witnesses may testify honestly but simply be wrong about what they thought they saw or remembered. It is a good idea to think about which testimony agrees best with the other evidence in the case. However, you may conclude that a witness deliberately lied about something that is important to how you decide the case. If so, you may choose not to accept anything that witness said. Or on the other hand, if you think the witness lied about something but told the truth about others, you may simply accept the part you think is true and ignore the rest. So I read that into the record because there were, disagreement or differences, completely different, in the 2 witnesses' testimony. One witness testified that we were at my house, and then she called, we came from my house, and then we went there, got her, left, came back. The other witness said, we was chilling for a couple of hours at the house, went to the store, got a call, came back. And, this is what was happening. It's not necessarily important to me what was happening before the altercation. What I know is that there was an altercation. And how do I know that for sure? Because in the body cam, Ms. Harris, who could barely talk above a whisper today, was on a video saying what happened, right? I mean, literally barely spoke above a whisper. Literally couldn't hear her at the mic, couldn't hear her at the mic, because she was something like this. State your name. Toriana. Ma'am, I can't hear you. State your name. Toriana. At the mic, I literally couldn't hear her. But on that video without a mic, on Schaefer, I could hear her clearly. She said, MFers. She said, all of this, without the mic. Those videos are amazing. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is priceless. A video is priceless. So what do I know from the video? I know that there was an incident that had absolutely nothing to do with Diamond Branch, Amber Comey, and Sierra Rochelle. There was some incident that occurred between Ms. Harris and some other people that didn't have nothing to do with these three ladies. And then one of these three ladies interjected themselves in the situation, right? Interjected and said whatever they said, because nobody, I don't know what they said, and it would have probably been hearsay. So they interjected themselves into a situation with Ms. Harris and some other people. And then Ms. Harris didn't appreciate the fact that they interjected into the situation because they didn't even know what was going on. And apparently the man was being inappropriate towards Ms. Harris's younger sibling. And when I heard that on the video, I was reminded of the other day, last week, or I don't know, we've had so many jury trials recently, but on one of the jury panels, and the man said, one of the potential jurors, and I don't even remember if he ultimately got selected for the jury, but he said, because if I see something, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. And then they're like, well, so what's, that didn't have nothing to do with you. And then he said, well, I don't care. If I see something that I think is wrong, I'm gonna say something. And I wanted to say, maybe he can get picked for the jury, I don't know. Because I wanted to say, well, what if you're wrong about what side you take? But I never did ask him that. Because he was insisting that he was going to interject if he thought he saw somebody, and I think there must have been one of the child abuse cases. So if he saw somebody discipline their child, he was going to interject and say, why don't you just talk to him, or something he was saying. And apparently, maybe Sierra Rochelle decided that she was going to interject in whatever was going on. And maybe she was wrong about herself interjecting, that she took the wrong side of whatever was going on. But what stood out to me in the video, in the body cam, was when Ms. Harris told the officer about that situation, and then she said, and then that's when the whole pepper spray situation happened. Okay, so then that just sat right there, because the pepper spray situation that I heard testimony about this morning is Ms. Harris pepper spraying Ms. Coney and Ms. Branch, even though the court did not allow the amendment as to Ms. Branch. So the only pepper spray incident that I know about on this record is that Amber Coney testified credibly to this court that Ms. Harris pepper sprayed her. Now, the thing of it is in the defense's closing argument, you want me to believe Ms. Branch when it comes to what happened that day. Like because you were like, well, a witness came in and said something different. Well, she did. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. She said it was that same day. But I believe whether they went to the grocery store or whether they was hanging out there for a couple of hours, get ready to cook, it's possible that somebody, one of them, mixed up the days that they was over there getting ready to cook versus we just went there for a minute. But what I'm focusing on is that at some point after they left, they came back, whether they had been there 2 hours or 20 minutes. And they came back and this situation happened and somebody butted their nose in where they shouldn't have. And then Miss Harris got upset. Or, I don't know if she got upset. And I believe the court is satisfied. Beyond a reasonable doubt that Miss Harris pepper sprayed Miss Coney. And it could be because Miss Coney was taken up for Miss Rochelle, and Miss Rochelle had butted in where she didn't belong. But at the end of the day, whether they butted in where they didn't belong, Miss Harris, not on this record. So let me be clear, not on this record. So Ms. Harris has the right to remain silent and does not have to put forth any evidence, but self-defense is an affirmative defense. And she would have to put forth some testimony as to self-defense. And the only way that any claim that she had a right to pepper spray Ms. Coney would be if she was defending herself. And that wasn't presented to the court. And I believe that she pepper sprayed Ms. Coney, and she didn't have a right to do so. And so the court finds her guilty of 1 count of assault or assault and battery. The witness is here, however, it's 12:54 and we have an afternoon docket. Also, I want a pre-sentence report because it's 2 Ms. Harris's. It's the Ms. Harris that is in court today, and it's the Ms. Harris that's on that video cussing and trying to go across the street when the officer was telling her to come back. It's 2 Ms. Harris's. It's the Ms. Harris that showed up today, and it's the Ms. Harris that I saw on that video. And I want to see what the pre-sentence report says about which Ms. Harris I should be sentencing. Court is going to set the matter for sentencing. I am going to order a pre-sentence investigation and substance abuse evaluation. Do I have any sentences on May 9th? How many do I have?
9.
Court is going to set the matter for sentencing May 9th at 9 o'clock. I am going to order a pre-sentence investigation, and Ms. Coney, you have a right to be present if you want to give a victim impact statement. You don't have to, and probation will probably call you to see if you want to give them a statement, and if you do, you can. But you have a right to give a victim impact statement. Anything further?
Nothing on behalf of Ms. Harris. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Harris should go across the hall so they can schedule her pre-sentence investigation and substance abuse evaluation. And court is in recess until, do you want the whole hour, Ms. Eason? let's say 1:45.
Yes, at the latest.
Okay, well, you can talk to me, if Mr. Flanagan is in here, he can